Hey guys, EJ here, and today I'm going to be doing a more classic review of an album that came out around 9 years ago. I am going to be reviewing one of my favorite albums of the decade and one of my favorite albums of all time, Minecraft Volume Alpha by C418. Now, a lot of people right off the bat, if you don't know this, haven't listened to it, might laugh, because, Minecraft. But to me, this soundtrack goes much further than just being a soundtrack to a video game. I think this is one of the most intriguing ambient, atmospheric, electronic albums I've heard ever. Now, obviously, I do think that sometimes using that description may not always be accurate because there is a lot of piano-based songs on here, but either way, every now and then, I stumble across a more experimental, more atmospheric, electronic album that really grasps my attention. For example, FX Twin's 1994 album, Selected Ambient Works Volume 2, or Radiohead's 2000 album Kid A, two more experimental electronic albums that really stick out to me. And I view this at that level. C418, the artist, that is, really was going an uphill battle with this thing. He could have easily made this soundtrack into your typical video game soundtrack with big theatrics and all that. But instead he went a more minimalist route, which fits the game. And I think that the product he ended up creating actually works really good, even when you're not playing the game or know nothing about the game. I think that the music on this 58-minute project here is some of the best, more atmospheric music I've ever heard, regardless to its connection to Minecraft. And this is probably the last time I'm actually even going to bring up the game, because the music itself speaks for itself. There's something about the way that he utilizes all the different kind of instruments and tools that kind of give this more of a childlike sound to it. But the flows between the songs, transitions, some of the melodies are definitely not childlike. These are melodies that a pretty advanced musician comes up with, and the arrangements on here are beautiful. Now, I think this is one of the most beautiful albums I've ever heard. And I do think that if this album wasn't associated with Minecraft, it probably would get much more appreciation amongst the music community, because obviously a lot of people have a bad reputation in their mind of what Minecraft's all about. But C418 would obviously go on to record more projects that were separate from Minecraft, and some that weren't. And he would definitely explore on this, and I think he has some good projects, without a doubt. I do think the 72 minutes of Fame one, I do think Excursions are really good as well. But let me talk a little bit more about this album and why I think this album's classic, why this thing stands out to me so much. Is like I said, he was going an uphill battle. If you want to make a memorable album and you want to make it a soundtrack, then you're gonna really have to make your music sound different. Because a lot of soundtracks do end up sounding the same, and he did that. There are songs on here that are very distant sounding piano songs, which are some of my favorite. The opening track, Key, is one of the most oddly nostalgic sounding openers I've heard to an album. And then the transition right into Door is so smooth. And then I think the third track, Subwoofer Lullaby, is arguably one of the strongest tracks on this entire thing, without a doubt. This whole album is full of great melodies, full of great instrumentals, full of great electronic soundscapes. The production on here is phenomenal for this style. I really love the different types of piano, and I think the greatest example of that is the two songs, Dry Hands and Wet Hands. The first of which, Dry Hands, might just be my favorite. I really do like the more dry, the more old-sounding piano on here. It's just a very slight bit out of tune. But then it goes into the more softer, more watery, Wet Hands. And just little details like that really make this thing stick out to me so much. And throughout this album, there's little details here and there that just really, really sucks you in when you're listening to it. As the album goes on and it progresses towards the later hand, you do get more beat-driven songs, more beat-driven electronic songs, but the vast majority of things on here are just, a little synth, a little piano here and there, but there's just something so unique about it that really makes it stand out and really makes it one of my favorite albums that I always come back to, no matter what. I recommend anybody, even if you don't care anything about Minecraft, listen to this, especially if you're into electronic or experimental or ambient music. This is the perfect album for you. I think that this is one of the most well-crafted albums, not just for a video game soundtrack, but for all albums. I think C418 really does dive deep into his strong point here, which is making this style. I actually might get around to reviewing more of his stuff because I do quite enjoy his stuff unironically. Not just because like maybe it's a meme or something, but and the last thing, I mean, I do have to talk about the song Sweden. Obviously this is the most well-known song if it is the main theme, but Sweden is really an excellent piano song, one of the greatest piano melodies I've ever heard. Really solid track. But yeah, Minecraft Volume Alpha is one of the most intriguing listens in electronic and in ambient atmospheric music I've heard in a long time. I think that this artist, C418, has a lot of, I wasn't say potential, but he's been around for a while, has a lot of great material that often gets overlooked by this one, because this is the Minecraft one. But yeah, I definitely recommend everybody check this out. It's a really solid album. I really wanted to get this review out of the way because I do really, really enjoy this thing. Like, outside of the fact that it's a video game. In fact, I probably listen to this more than I actually play. Well, that's about it for now. I recommend everybody checks out this album, Minecraft Volume Alpha from C418, and everybody checks out his other material because it's all pretty good. That's about it for now. C418, Minecraft Volume Alpha.